Well, would you look at that? It was 4 minutes and 44 seconds when I saw that there was 44 of you live and 4 of you had sent in love hearts. So there's a lot of fours. And this morning, we were sitting here, myself and Laura and Ernestine and Megan, and we were waiting on Yelena and Dusan to join us for a meeting. And they were after a big win, a lovely big success that I think they probably should tell you about themselves tomorrow night. And they were to call into the meeting, but as they called in, they were having a giggle and a laugh because I have these cards here, and they're cards that were given to me by a friend of mine, and it was just you basically pick one a day and you read some kind of like law of attraction messages from wherever they are coming from, and every one of us have had an amazing year. We've decided for October, November, and December to kind of maybe just fill out where we are rather than growing to the next level. Just take care of October, take care of all the clients, take care of ourselves and our own mental and physical wellness, and have a nice winter, October, November, and December, and come out with all guns blazing in January. So it's like a period of rest, and it's not slowing down or going backwards. It's just about doing it with more rest involved. Now, the card came out number 444, and thank you for all the numbers that we just saw here. And what was the title of the card? It was Rest. So I just looked at my screen, ready to say good evening, and I see all the fours again. You got to be watching for these little messages that are always floating around. And you don't know where your idea can take you. A lovely lady couldn't get on a call with me yesterday because she said she had a migraine. I got on a call I text her and I says, get on this number, and she has an appointment next Tuesday. And I 100% am confident that this lady is going to go and meet a colleague of mine, an acupuncturist in Bray, and her migraines will be gone once and for all. You just don't know where these things, like she enrolled with me thinking I was going to do what I said we're going to do here in the academy, but I believe we'll also help her to get rid of these pesky migraines once and for all. It's something I really love doing as an acupuncturist, actually, because they're very debilitating. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and welcome. I also got a message today from a lady who did a masterclass, decided to go ahead and join the academy. And one of her goals was to get a nice big old salary and to become a CFO of a company. And I got a call today to say that she's been, I think, made an offer. Another gentleman contacted me to say that because of the work we've been doing in the academy and all that kind of stuff, he is winding down and about to head away in a 2.5 month. Sorry, 2.5 months would be nice. A 2.5 week honeymoon after not being able to go there because of COVID and such and such. So it's been a lovely day hearing wonderful stories from all different walks of life, and then in a very humbling and very grounding kind of a way. I just learned recently enough that there's people on the way now to the hospital with their little girls. So you know what? Life has its ups and downs and its trills and spills, and it's always going to be throwing beautiful petals at your feet and little Mike Tyson punches in the jaw. And it's how we deal with it without being on a roller coaster that really is my reason for getting up in the morning and going to do the work that I do. I do love the stories about I'm looking forward to pictures from Canada from the honeymoon, and I'm looking forward to this lady telling us about her new job and a great, absolutely top job, fair play, and she deserves it. She's amazing, and all the wins and all that. But it's when people are able to do what they want to do with their life because they have time freedom and money freedom, and they can be there and take care of the ones that matter the most. That's really the most important thing. We can take all those riches with us to the next life. So I think the richness, there's a book called The Science of Getting Rich, and Napoleon Hill's book is Think and Grow Rich, and Bob's book is You Were Born Rich. And it really kind of puts people off. It's like, richness and money, it's all about money. But there's a richness. We talk about a rich sauce, we talk about rich fabric, and we talk about I think the wealthiest people are people who are really genuinely have happiness flowing through their life, and that is what we help people to do in our academy. Get really clear on this thinking stuff, because by God, you can put a brave face on it for weeks, can't you? But meanwhile, inside you're being eaten up by these inability to kind of process the thought. But hopefully now, from listening to the likes of Catherine and Shauna and Brian last night, and this wonderful lady joining us at 8 o'clock, Susan. See if I just smiled and I think of Susan every time. Brian has taken thought energy, and his goal is to have 21 billion in net assets when he's 60. I have my goal for when I'm 50. I have a goal for when I'm 45, which is in 2025. But that's my goal. My goal is in Brian's. I don't have an ambition to have 21 billion in assets. Maybe it'll be a byproduct of the work that I'm going to do, but it's not my focal point, but it's his. Shauna's goals are not mine. Shauna's goals are hers. My goals are not Shauna's. And I don't think she'd swap with me, and I don't think I'd swap with her. But we're both really happy doing what we want to do. The money and all that becomes secondary after a while, but it was like an obsession of mine for a while to get success. And I realized that I was kind of missing the trick when I thought that it was all about getting the money. In fact, it wasn't. It was about finding out how to make this wonderful life that we're given one shot at work for us rather than against us. It's very nice, and I'm not going to go back to the doubt, fear, and worry and hopes and wishes and dreams. And instead, I'm going to stay at doing what I'm doing and what I've been showing you all week how to do. There we are. Hello, Declan. How are you over there? Right, cool. All right, everybody. So let's get into absolute freedom. Now, there's two words. I'm not saying kind of freedom, a little bit of freedom, a sprinkle of freedom, a little dash of freedom, a side order of freedom. It's absolute. I have ups and downs. I have days where I just want to stay under the duvet. I have a lot of different emotions at different times, the same as everybody on the screen. So does Brian, so does Shauna, so does Bob Proctor, I'll have you know. But when you can bring those times where you feel like reacting down to a response, when you have those times that you feel like caving in and just all of a sudden going, hang on, how do I want it to be? And turning it around. When you have times that you normally would pick up the phone and ask somebody for help, and you've made the decision and dealt with the situation before it's even snowballed into anything bigger than it already is, that's your absolute freedom. It represents itself often when people are around the first 4 or 5 lessons of Thinking into Results in our academy, where they'll say, do you know what happened, Declan? And I love it. It's a phone call, or it's some kind of a connection through maybe a video chat or something like that. Do you know what happened? It was the maddest thing. I went to this family event, and there was this one there, and she'd always wind me up, and I found I was just able to deal with it. It was amazing. So that's absolute freedom. That's just an example of it. Or if you get an email, or you get something, or you get a bill, and you think normally that would really knock you on your backside and make you really nervous, and you just go, okay, I'll figure it out. That's absolute freedom. Your thoughts, you are now, you ever see the movie The Matrix, where Agent Smith, he's shooting at Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, and he just stops all those bullets in midair, and then they just drop to the ground. That's what it's like. Absolute freedom is something that is all of your birthright, and it is possible for everyone. What I love about, we met recently, we always meet in live seminars when I do them. This is like my format of live seminars now, the live masterclasses. But I used to go around to all these cities and counties around Ireland and do hotel seminar presentations. And some of the clients would travel to meet together, and I used to love observing the buzz that they have, because they all have this common denominator of that freedom, of that confidence coming from deep down within. I'm sorry, I just noticed my battery needs to be plugged in. That's why I bent down there. There was a buzz here on the island around mid-August, and we had a lot of clients down, and it's because they are free to be me. You know, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me that I think Karina thinks I should be, not the me that I think Catherine thinks I should be, not the me that I think Laura thinks I should be, not the me that I think my mom and dad think I should be. If I want to be free, I've got to be me, and I've got to figure out who me is. Okay, so maybe you want to write that down. If I want to be free, I've got to be me, not the me I think my boyfriend thinks I should be, not the me I think my teacher thinks I should be, not the me I think my ex thinks I should be. If I want to be free, I've got to be me, and I better figure out who me is, who I am. Who is that me? I'm not Declan. I don't know who. That's a name my mom and dad gave me. They gave me the surname my dad was given by his dad and mom. But Declan was chosen. It was going to be Enda, actually. I know we've Enda here watching along, but it was almost Enda. And then dad was like, Declan, we go with Declan. We went with Declan. And there was 6 Declans in the one classroom in Portmagee School. Declan Sullivan, not in the school, in the football team. Declan Sullivan, Declan Leary, Declan Keating, Declan Driscoll, Declan Shea, Declan I don't know who. And actually one evening my brother was home from California, and he saw 4 lads in the corner, and he's like, they're all called Declan. And he goes, when my fella comes in, I'm going to tell him go over there. And sure enough, he says, Dick, go over there for a minute. And when he said Dick, all the heads turned. So it's funny how that worked out, but obviously it was a popular name here at the time. But anywho, that's not me. Declan O'Donoghue is not me. It's my name, but it's not me. I've learned that I am a floating mass of energy. I'm a spiritual being living in a physical body. And I was out of harmony with the truth for a long, long time. And now I'm in harmony with the truth. And I know that I just need to think about what I want deep down in my heart and work towards it bit by bit every day, and believe and have faith and watch it all transpire. It's really exciting, and I will never go back. I don't, as I said, I don't put bread into a toaster and expect, celery to jump out. You're expecting toast to pop out. You don't put water into a glass and then expect to drink Guinness. You can't put negative, doubtful, fearful, anxious, what's the word? Procrastinating, postponing type dreams into a subconscious mind and expect them to manifest. That's why there's a lot of skepticism about personal development, especially around the area of law of attraction and law of vibration, because people spend more time dedicated to soap operas than they do to changing their life. They spend more time dedicated to junk food than they do to health and healthy, nutritious food. I was an acupuncturist for 10 years, and I know what it's like being on the other side. The men and women with the stethoscopes, and they're like, how many units of alcohol? A week? Yeah. 3, maybe 4, and you're like 4 an hour, if we're honest. So I know what it feels like to be sitting there and to, hang on, give me 1 second. Printer is like a poltergeist. Hang on. You have to turning on by yourself, silly Billy. Well, clearly the retrograde is still going. I sat there and listening to people, and I could see they were telling lies. It's like, no, maybe I'd have maybe 1 coffee every 2 days, and then they'd have like migraine and vertigo and seeing stars, and they'd have all the hallmarks of a heavy coffee drinker. It's like maybe 1 in the morning, and then these kind of things. So you can't expect to be putting those type of foods and drinks into your body and get perfect optimum health. In the same way, you can't be putting silly, doubtful, fearful, anxious, procrastinating thoughts, postponing thoughts, that type of a negative energy into your subconscious and expect anything else. So people say, I don't believe in it, I don't think it works. And it's because they're not doing it at all, really. That's why you will see and hear people who study this and work with this. You'll see the 3 guys with me tomorrow night, Yelena, Dusan, and Megan, and myself, and all the other contributors this week, and the clients and the team here. You're seeing the confidence and the feedback people are giving, because they're putting their hopes and dreams, their wants, their wishes, into their subconscious mind, and they're taking daily action steps to make it happen. And that's it. They're no better or worse than you. I'm no better or worse than you, but we're just learning what we were never taught by our parents and what we were never taught in school. You become what you think about all day long, and you better blooming choose wisely. Okay, so let's learn about the best magic wand I was ever given in my whole life, and it is the ability to get absolute freedom from one word. And that word is decision. I learned how to make clear and committed decisions. I was put on a stage in Toronto one time in front of a lot of people who wanted to be where I was in levels of success. And I told them 2 things. I said, I study what we teach, and I made a decision that I was going to be on this stage. And you could hear the, and because of course they thought I was going to say, well, I have this much of a Facebook budget, or this much of, I have a friend in LinkedIn who connected me to people. No. I read the material, I studied it, I was the best student that I could be, and I made a decision I was going to be here. Now, let's hear back from some of you people instead of me doing all the talking. Let's get typing, okay? Let's get those fingers and thumbs typing. I want you to think of a time when you absolutely shocked yourself and surprised yourself by, there might have been somebody in a restaurant choking, and you ran over and gave them the Heimlich maneuver, or, you just surprised yourself with how incredible you were in a moment where you needed to take action. A gentleman once fell into the water up in the River Lee in Cork City, and I was with some friends. We'd had a few drinks on board. We'd come out of Dean's Hall, the university kind of apartments there, the student apartments, and they were all a bit too drunk, and they didn't really see the enormity of the situation. They carried on down because they didn't want to be stuck in the long queues. Oh, we'll keep a space for you in the queue deck. I was like, yeah, I'll just save your man's life here, But I did. I got to stay with him, and he was going to give up. It was freezing cold water. It was winter time, and I think he was intoxicated as well. And I think he'd been thrown in because we saw somebody run off. But this gentleman, anyway, clung on to some vines that were hanging down, some ivy that was hanging down from the Beamish and Crawford Brewery, and I just stayed there screaming at him, telling him to keep communicating me, asking him to remind me what my name was. I don't know where I got that information from, or where I got even the knowledge that that's what I should be doing, but I just kept like screaming at him, don't give up. And up came the fire brigade from down the town, the fire brigade and the guards, and they rescued the gentleman. Hang on 1 second. They rescued the gentleman, and yeah, so I shocked myself that night by what I was capable of doing. I've had a few situations like that. So why don't we hear from some of you guys times where you've surprised yourself? You know, I went in and I asked for a raise and I got it, or I decided I was going to quit my job and travel for a year and I did it. There's times when you've made a decision and you've changed the way things are going to go. Decisiveness and decision making is the key to absolute freedom. I jumped off the pier in Youghal to fish out a baby in a pram that got pushed over the side during a kids' crab fishing competition. Wow, incredible, incredible. Now we talked last night about, and keep more of these coming. I want to hear it, please. That's incredible. Have you underestimated yourself since? The person who jumped off the pier in Youghal, I don't see your name. Hang on, I should see it here. Mike Cronin. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Well, Mike, let me be, honest with us here. Has there been times since that you have doubted yourself, where you've underestimated what you're capable of and decided not to do something because you don't know how? You didn't think twice about how there, did you? You just went for it. We talked yesterday evening about yesterday we talked about how people just decide they're going to do something, and if a village, God forbid, believed that they had to raise like 100,000 or 200,000, a rural village anywhere in Donegal or Galway or Louth or anywhere in the country, just a rural village, and somebody found out there was a child that needed expert medical attention in America, everybody'd get together and go, yeah, we're going to, I don't know how, but we're going to make it happen. You see, this can happen in an individual level, and it can happen in a community level, and it can happen in a boardroom level. It can happen with a sales team. You can have a Hilton hotel that goes out of business, and you can have a Hilton hotel that gets the award of the best in the world. It just comes down to the way the place is being run. The decision makers, the managers, the thinkers in there, the people who really get businesses, 60% of them don't really last past the first year, which is a scary stat, and 90% don't last past 3 years. And I know why. Because people work on the mechanics, which is 5% of success, and they don't work on the mindset, which is 95% of success. That gentleman, Mike, a decision maker, jumped off the pier and saved a baby's life. He probably thought on the way down, if it means my life, I don't care. And that is incredible. But I guarantee you, I've done it since I saved that man's life that night. And I've done it since I've created this company and had a lot of testimonials. A lot of people, send me pictures from years ago, or from, look at me, Declan, remember when I started with you 4 years ago, look at me now, and stuff like that. And I've underestimated myself. I've doubted myself. I've talked myself out of opportunities still, because my paradigm had 25 years of playtime before I woke the hell up. So all I would say is, this is not something that you can just do for a little while and put your toe in the water, because you are living this material every minute of every day. You need to learn. Imagine trying to redirect the River Lee or the River Liffey with a spade and a shovel, just redirecting it a little bit. That's what it's like. Your energy is flowing in one path, and it probably came from mom and dad, and it's flowing in one way. And when you start studying this material, you're probably even feeling it this week. And we're only on day 4, which means you've officially done an hour and a half times 3, which is 5.5 hours, right? Laura and myself and June are having a great crack at the moment about my maths skills. And you've been with us for a few 6 a.m. clubs, a little bit of writing and reading, and you're already noticing changes. You see, the power of repetition and the power of the proper material, you will never look back at what this is going to do for you. And it doesn't stop there. What it does for generations and everyone around you. There's people today who went out and bought a new car, and they feel amazing. And one day they told me, F off, when I said, you should study with us, and this is how much it costs and whatever. And they didn't upset me. I said, look, I know why you would say that. And now they're grateful that I said to myself, how do I want it to be? And I thought, I want them to do this. And I talked to them for a little bit longer, and they said, okay, we're going to find a way. We're going to make it happen. And they never look back. And that's a lot of people are like that. I'm like that. I was where you are before. I need something. I know I need help, and I don't know where to get it. Well, hopefully you found it this week in ourselves. I chose to be free from the people who made me stand in one place. Beautiful, Kalizerna. That's gorgeous. Evening, I struggled always with standing up, speaking in front of people who I thought were better and more educated than me. But I did it one day at a meeting, and it was a great sense of freedom. Look at you. So Facebook, that was Veronica says, A woman died at a family wedding 2 years ago. We resuscitated her with CPR and defib, and she woke up in ICU, and she's still alive and well. Oh my God, Veronica, jeepers. Veronica, I hate to ask the question after that, but have you underestimated yourself since that? Because I'm being honest, I have, I've doubted my abilities, even though I've created this house with no hope of getting a mortgage, and nobody in my family had earned nobody ever earned a six-figure income, and my company would go out of business if we worked. My old annual salary was about 35,000, and I don't think we'd keep going if we didn't earn that much per month. It doesn't make any sense really to the masses, but I'm telling you, it works. You got to think about what you want, and you got to take small little steps every day. I was in an abusive relationship, and I made the decision to leave 17 years ago, and I'm proud I did. Well, I think there's a lot of people very proud of you, Nadia, and well done. He says, definitely, I've been procrastinating on a business setup for 2 years now. Incredible, Mike, isn't it? And Mike, there's people now that would take what I've said there. Veronica said it as well. She's underestimated herself. And why is that? I sat with Bob. I had a breakfast with Bob in Toronto in May 2019, and I was, the bee's knees coming up to that point, because Brian, actually, who was on with me, and a colleague of mine called Kim, who lives up in Northern Ireland, they were like number one and number two, and along comes this fellow with no assistant, and my office was a Woody's DIY shed 6x8 that's outside. And if you're here tonight with us, Anne's living in my old cottage now, and that was it. I started my company in there. My friend Dan, who's an amateur electrician, bored a hole through the wall and took the cable out, and we kind of buried it with some plastic piping and under the stones, and we brought it up, and that PowerPoint illuminated my little shed, and I started the consulting business there. And now we've like 20 people working with us, and we've a fantastic group of amazing clients all over the country and all over the world, and it's humming along just nicely. But at the time, it was just myself. And I was in Toronto, and I made the decision that I was going to win this particular prize, okay? But I had I really didn't have a hope. It was David and Declan and Goliath. So Brian had a team, he had a really big team, and he's run a lot of businesses. I mean, he'd been in private jets and all this kind of stuff. And then Kim, she was a few years ahead of me. She had a team as well. And I feckin' worked my butt off. I just made a decision. I stood on the stage. When the conference center was closed down, I kind of broke in and turned on all the lights. And I went up on stage, and I did my acceptance speech. And then I went up to my room, and I got up. I got up about 3 a.m. because Ireland was waking up at 8. And I got in touch with people, and because it's 5-hour difference, so 5 and 3 is 8. So 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody in Ireland was awake. That's 3 a.m, and I was in Toronto. My friend Ricky, we were room sharing, and he could hear me, and he just blocked his ears and says, "This guy's on a mission." And I was just in touch with people. It was literally like a sales business at that time. And I was contacting people, and what we do now is we get to serve people in a big way, and they make a decision. We don't have to be like phoning people like kind of like cold calling or whatever. That's what I was literally doing. But you see, when you find your purpose, you make a decision you're going to do something. I had enough proof that this worked, and I'd helped a lot of people. And I was ringing and contacting people who said, "Look, I definitely want to do this, but I'll wait." So I was ringing all those people back, and it was just like a prayer, like an answer from God. It's like, "Oh my God, Declan, I was just thinking about you. Thanks so much for ringing me. Yeah, let's do it." And it was like 12 people, one after the other. It was literally miracle stuff. And then Bob was like, "What the hell is happening?" And rings the hotel room and tells me to come down to the hotel room. And I came down, and I got to do the speech pretty much that I had done the evening before when the conference center was closed, and I turned on the lights by myself. Now, that all happened in February. Next May, June, July, February, March, April. It's not just the numbers now. I'm also forgetting my calendar. So February was February, March, April, and May. So May I was back, and I was invited to have breakfast with Bob in Toronto. We were sitting down there and having a chat. And he goes, "What the hell's happened to you, man?" And the same thing happened to me that happened to Veronica and Mike. My paradigm kicked in. I thought, sure, I've made it now. I know how to make this work. I'm off to the races. I'm the cock of the walk here. Look at me, Mr. I don't want to say a rude word, but I thought I'd made it, and the paradigm kicked in. And I started to realize that I wasn't doing what I teach. I wasn't dedicating myself to my studies that had got me there in the first place. So we become what we think about. We don't become what we work at. If you work, you'll get so far. But if you think about what you want and you feel about how you want it to be, and then you get to work. Bob has a lovely phrase. He goes, "Pray and move your feet." Pray and move your feet. That's it. That's his meaning for life. Pray, move your feet. So it's like, ask for what you want. You don't pray for something you don't want. So ask for something you truly want and go after it. Just go do it. get out and do it. So Veronica's doubted herself, Declan Donoghue's doubted herself, Mike has doubted himself. So if you're doubting yourself right now, you're in good company. Because I know Brian has doubted himself. I know he's had ups and downs. Breda, you're here. She said that's incredible. Breda's the lady who was the lucky lady who won it. Suzanne has won a 2-hour consultation with the beautiful Breda. And she's going to be in very good hands because she's a very stylish lady and she knows what she's doing. But Breda, since you've increased your business, you've doubted yourself too. Magdalena's here, she has. Everybody here is doubting themselves. And you don't want to be that way for much longer. So what you're going to learn tonight is the power of the word decision. Every year in Easter in Ireland, we talk about the proclamation and the independence in 1916. These people made the decision to sign their name to a document that would mean certain death. Now that is incredible. And there's people saying, I don't know if I could take out a small loan to start a business. What would my mom say? It's incredible what people do. We have people making life and death decisions in this country tonight. And then we have people going, will I leave? Will I not? Will I stay? Ooh, I don't know about the pensionable job, but I love my own boutique and I always wanted to be a hairdresser, and and then all of a sudden life comes along and it says, thou must stay in your house for 18 months and not see your family and social distance. You see, change is going to happen, and lightning, thunderbolts of lightning. There you go, Mary T, a song for you tonight. Thunderbolts are going to come along and they're going to pull the feckin' rug from under you. So change happens. People think they're better off being safe and better off avoiding a risk. I think it's so risky to stay hoping and praying that Superman and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman are going to come down and wrap you up in cotton wool and bubble wrap and make sure everything is okay. Life is a complete risk all of the time. We've people that woke up this morning, had a great day, looking forward to tonight, and they can't be with us tonight because they have to be somewhere else they wouldn't like to be. This is life, guys. This happens all the time. And you cannot keep postponing your dreams any longer. You got to change your self-image. You got to find out how you do that. You got to change your paradigm. You got to find out how you do that. And that tool that you need to do that is the secret genie. It's the stick person in my logo right there. It's in your book. But the catalyst for that is decision making. And when you make a decision to do it, you are going to feel the fear, 100%. Tomorrow night we'll be talking about that. Today we get to speak with a remarkable young woman whose life has changed because she felt the fear and she did it anyway. But doing starts with the letter D, but it was the decision that preceded the doing. And that changed, it's just changed lives. She's incredible. I can't wait to bring her on. Okay. So let's, such a good story and a demonstration of what's possible and what happens if you let it slip. The sky really is the limit. Yeah, I let it slip. I absolutely did. And so be it. So be it. Change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice, says Mr. Jonathan. One of my lovely students fell and banged his head near his eyes at the edge of his chair to the sharp part and cut his forehead. While I was taking care of the cut, he was crying so much, but I managed to comfort him, clean his cut, and get him ready to the ER. He was a brave boy. Well done, Tunde. And, you've got loads of examples of that, guys, where people do absolutely amazing stuff and then go off and doubt themselves. I think we have a lot of mothers here, and we have people who, I was talking to a gentleman yesterday about the same thing. He's done incredible stuff and he's still doubting himself. And I talked about the vast majority of people in the academy are ladies, and a lot of those ladies happen to be moms, and they have nearly all doubted themselves. It's just a normal, natural part of growing. I'm going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow. But fear has a preceding, what do we call it? There's something that precedes fear, and it's worry and doubt. And both of those are totally taken out by decision. When you decide, you don't worry and doubt. And if you don't worry and doubt, fear cannot ensue. So I'm telling you, there's a man, my whole life changed because of a procrastinator. His name was Declan O'Donoghue, 2016, I suppose. 2015, I was still deliberating, and probably 2016 that I did it. But that procrastinator gave way to this amazing decision maker. It's got to be you eventually that goes over the line from procrastination to decision. So let's get into it and talk about how you are going to make the absolute freedom. I can guide you, Bob can guide you, Sandy can guide you, your success advisor can guide you, but you are the person that lights that spark, that lights the match, that gets the whole thing going. It's going to be amazing. It just lights a fire inside of you. It's just you'll never look back, and you'll be wondering, why now? Like, how come I didn't find this out 10 years ago? My God. But it doesn't matter. You found it out now. And this is exactly when you were meant to be introduced to this material right now. Okay, so let's get into it. Absolute freedom. Let's start with a quote. And the quote is R stands for responsibility. So just write responsibility and leave that the only word on that line, and then go to the next line. I am responsible. Write that down. I am responsible. And if one of the team would not mind, please typing this in the chat as I go, so then I don't have to keep repeating it. It's there. I am responsible for my life. Write that in your worksheet. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, for my personal growth, and for every result that I get. I'm not saying what you've gotten till this point, but from now on. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, for my personal growth, and for every result that I get. To succeed in life, you need to become a committed decision maker. You need to become a committed decision maker. Why? Well, there are two main reasons. So number one, the main reason is to get yourself into situations you want to get into, to get yourself into a life, for example, you want to get into, to change and get what you want. Okay, number one, to get what you want. And number two, to stop doing what you don't want. Just the time wasting, the energy wasting, the flipping money wasting of doing things that you don't want to do anymore. Like, you cannot go to something and not be all like, I should have gone. Are they going to be talking about me? You just learn to say no. You learn to say yes to you. You stop becoming a people pleaser and you become a Magdalena pleaser. You become a Jonathan pleaser, you know. Jonathan becomes a Jonathan pleaser. Laura becomes a Laura pleaser. Declan becomes a Declan pleaser. You know, it's not selfish to put yourself first. It's so bloody draining to keep putting everyone, even if you're a dad or a mom, or if you're an uncle or an auntie or a son and you've got needy parents, like, it's so good for you and it's good for them if you put yourself first. So the two main reasons that you need to become a decision maker, number one, is to get into situations, get into the life you want to get into, to make things happen. So to get into things. And number two, to get out of things, to get away from things, to stop eating the things you don't want to eat. Stop buying the things that you don't want to buy. Stop. The minute you get money, you just find a way to get rid of it. That's a paradigm. So decision makers change paradigms. Decision makers change self-image. Day one, self-image. Day two, paradigm. Day three, how do we change the paradigm? The secret genie. Day four, how do we do all this? Decision making. And day five tomorrow is a whole new you. And I know everybody here, including Mike, including Veronica, including myself, I give you examples of people who have felt the fear but did it anyway, and have felt the fear but stopped. So to become a new you, you've got to learn how to understand that fear is like air. It's never really going to go away. And to eliminate all fear is to eliminate all growth. So that's tomorrow's lesson. But let's stay with today. What are the key facts about decision makers? Now, again, if I could please ask somebody just to type these along with me as we go. Number one, they trust their ideas and they excel at life. So decision makers, they trust their ideas and they excel at life. I know my ideas come to me and not my brother Kevin. My ideas come to me and not my sister Carmel, right? Their ideas come to them. I'm not better or worse than them. I don't want their ideas. Mine are mine. And I trust my ideas. I say yes to the ones I want. I say no to the ideas I don't want. But I still get lots of ideas. Decision makers trust their ideas and they excel at life. They really, really do. Number two, they build better relationships. I very quickly understand if I'm going to have a long-term relationship with somebody, and I form it and I keep it well, and I get to understand my rapport with that person, and it's kept pretty long. I make good friendships and I keep them going. And I understand if I meet someone and let's stay in touch, you know, it's like you meet them at a conference, it's like, yeah, you know, I don't do that anymore. And I used to do that a lot. It's like, sure, come over, you should come, you should bring your whole family, you know. So they build better relationships. You can make lots of relationships, but the ones that really serve you and help you and bring you along in life. Doesn't mean you're using people, but you're not just wasting time and stuff like that. You're building better relationships. Number three, they avoid agonizing over things. Oh my God. My beautiful sister Noreen, I don't know if she's ever going to hear this back, but every dinner, it's like, I don't know what I want. It's unreal. It's like, how about you come 20 minutes early, read the menu and make a decision. And then after she's ordered it, she's still looking at every plate. I should have gone for that. Oh, I don't know what I want. Every dinner. And I love her to bits. And she'd laugh at me. She's like, are you flipping really impersonating me in your master classes? But anyway, agonizing over things. But if she does it at the dinner table, she does it at everything. And I'm telling you, she does. Number 4, they don't procrastinate. Who here procrastinates? What a time wasting, energy draining thing that is. Decision makers trust their ideas. Number 2, they build better relationships. Number 3, they avoid agonizing over things. Oh my God, the time wasted at that. Number 4, they don't procrastinate. Number 5, they don't believe in failure. They don't believe in failure. I have no fear of trying things. I haven't started a food business I want to start. Not because I'm afraid of failure. I just haven't started it. I'm not afraid someone else is going to copy it because there's no such thing as competition. Amateurs compete, professionals create. I spoke with a beautiful lady today. She's got a great company. She just passed the 5,000 a week milestone. Deserves every bit of it. She's extraordinary. Very fond of her. Really nice person. Deserves all the look she's going to get. And she mentioned the word today that somebody else came into the market, and I forgot to say it to her. She said, it's a bit of competition. There's no competition, my dear. That business is not coming from those customers. It's coming through those customers from the universe, because you're saying clearly what you wanted. You know who you are. I think you're here with me tonight. Are you here with me tonight? I know you're I think you're watching along. That business came to you through those customers that you've created. You only created the business in lockdown. It's come through your customers, not from them. And the competition, who cares? There's Tato's, there's King Crisps, there's Bikers, there's tons of crisps. There's no competition. Professionals create, amateurs compete. Okay, so I don't believe in failure. I don't worry about competition. I just believe in me, and I believe that if I do something and it works against us, lesson learned, and that's the way it goes. And number 6, they think about the positive outcome. So when I make a decision about what I want to do, I think about the positive outcome. Myself, Yelena Dusa, and Megan, a gentleman who used to work with us as well, Adrian, myself, Yelena, Megan Dusa, and Adrian, Laura, sat down at Christmas time and started coming up with a goal. And the guys shocked me with the goal that they wanted us to achieve. I was aiming for a lot less, to be honest. It's like, the way they say, I've created a monster. I created 4 or 5 monsters. And they were like, well, we're just doing what you're thinking. And it was funny because Brian and I did the same with Bob. And he goes, I've been waiting for a group of you to come along for 58 years. And I stretched Bob's idea, myself and Brian did, and a few other people on that call. We stretched his imagination, even though he taught it to us. And the guys stretched my imagination. But I thought about it for a while, and I made the decision. I said, even if we fail, it's going to be great. Let's go for it. You'll see Denzel Washington and Will Smith. They both have videos about fail forward. If you're going to fail forward. So decision makers, don't worry about failure at all. Has anybody here got Google Glasses? Has anybody here got, some of the inventions that never made it? Elon Musk has failed with a lot more than, he's 157 billion worth in his assets. He's worth 157 billion, and he had a lot of failures along the way. So, my dear friends, we're going to go to the homework now, and I have a few announcements to do, and I have a few little bits and pieces to do now. But the bulk of the decision-making lesson we've done, but we have a few little bits of really important things to do. Day 4 homework. I want you to draw the stick figure person in there. And on the top, I want you to put T for thoughts. I want you to put F for feelings and A for actions. Thoughts, feelings, and actions. Okay? Thoughts, feelings, and actions. That's the stick figure. Thoughts are in the conscious mind. Feelings in the subconscious, and we take the actions through the body. Now, on the day 4 homework, it says, when I'm indecisive, you'll see there's a beautiful, big, huge minus there. When I'm indecisive, that minus means negative. When I'm an indecisive person, so when I am, the letter I is there, when I'm indecisive, when I don't decide on things, when I'm not a decisive person, what happens? Now, look at the thoughts you think when you're indecisive. Will I, won't I, can I, can't I, how can I, oh my God, I can't, I couldn't possibly, right? They're the thoughts that go through your head. They are like, they're wearing, as some of the people around here said, wearing means like draining. They're tiresome thoughts. The world passes you by, opportunities pass you by while you're wallowing in these indecisive thoughts. Feelings. What kind of feelings do you have when you're indecisive? Oh my God, it's like cramps in your stomach and sweats and sleepless nights. And what are the actions you take? Distraction. Or I'll have a drink. We'll have a glass of wine. Put on Netflix. Quick. So look at what you do and be honest with yourself. Maybe divide those lines up into 3. Maybe the next time we do that, we might edit that a bit. It just came up to me now. So how about you put indecisive thoughts there, what it feels like when you're indecisive there, and what actions you don't take, and what actions you do take. Maybe have a drink, have a fight with someone. We had a really lovely guy joined us after the last masterclass, John, and he said that when I asked this question about what do you do, he goes, I get angry and cranky when I'm indecisive. Yeah, because I love gardening. I use carrots and potatoes and onions and all these things, the stuff that's fairly easy to grow in an Irish climate. And I use it to show my children. They do it with me every year. And I show them that a thought seed is like a physical seed. You plant it in the ground and then you don't stand over it all day going, come on, the parsnips, come on, the carrots. You plant them. The fertile soil that we plant them in, Daddy's taken good care of it. I've picked out the stones, I've picked out the weeds, I've fluffed it all up. I've made sure there's plenty of organic matter in there. I've been making the compost for a while, making sure the fertile soil is ready. Same with the subconscious mind, getting rid of the junk with study, creating a beautiful subconscious like Shauna did with her business, like Susan, you're going to hear in a moment. Susan had some junk she needed to get out of her subconscious. So did Jonathan, Magdalena, Caroline, every single success advisor, Pan, Kim, Huey and Lane, everyone. All the success advisors you're dealing with, they had all that junk. They had to scoop that out with study. The study gets it out, you know. If you have Coca-Cola in a glass and you keep pouring in loads of Evian, there'll be no Coca-Cola in a while. All that beautiful Evian will go in and wash out the Coca-Cola. When you study, you don't have to like lie on a couch to get rid of the junk. When you put in all the good stuff, the bad stuff goes tally-ho. Goodbye. Heading off on the J1 or something. Okay, it just cannot live there. So the thoughts, think about the thoughts you think when you're indecisive. Think about the feelings that you put up with when you're indecisive and the actions that you don't take and you should take when you're indecisive, when you're in a level of indecision. Now let's go to the good side. Let's leave the dark side. Indecision is the dark side, and let's go over to the good side. Okay. When I am a committed decision maker, write that in. When I am a committed decision maker, what happens? I act fast. I'm like, oh, will I buy it? Will I buy it? Oh my God, it's a lot of money. He'll kill me. Sure, I'll tell him it was a sale. You know, that kind of, I make the decision. I'm getting it. Nice one. I love it. I love, Yelena got a really fancy pair of designer shoes or something, and I think they cost her a few bob, and she felt great. I was like, let's get it. And I'm not talking about getting a buzz from shopping, but I'm talking about lots of things. Bob asked me to come to something in Toronto one time, and I thought, this is great. Teacher's pet here, off I go. And then I got a bill for 20 grand. And I felt like a bit of a fool. And I panicked and I got into fear. And I rang Doug, a friend of mine. And he's like, no, Declan, don't you think working with Bob close at hand for a week is going to change your life? Do you think you're going to make that 20 grand back in this year? And I was like, yeah. Do you think you're going to compound that over the next 10 years from what you learned from him? I goes, yeah. And off you go. And the minute I did done, I felt amazing. It felt amazing to get that money, pay it down and go. And sure enough, it changed my life again. Going and study in a smaller, more intimate way for 6 days just was another game changer. And of course, I made that back multiple times over. But if I didn't make the decision, I wouldn't have got the result. So committed decision makers, think about the list we've written and think about yourself. When you're a committed decision maker, you trust yourself more and you just go, come on, let's do it. When you're a committed decision maker, think about the feelings you have. So you build better relationships. If you're a committed decision maker and you come home and you left the house in the morning and there was a bit of picture, no sound, and you come home and it's like, your dinner's there. I'm off to bed, you know. You'll build better relationships, won't you? Because you'll decide, do I really want to go on another couple of days of fighting? It's like, sweetheart, can we sit down and talk? Look, I'm just going to listen. Actually, I'm not going to talk at all because I want to hear how did I upset you? Decisive people, they decide not to be putting up with crap and they're just going to say, look, I'm sorry, let's go. Decision makers. So think about the thoughts you think when you're a decisive, committed decision maker. Think about the way you run your business when you're a committed decision maker. Think about, the actions that you take. It's like, come on, let's go. Look, don't worry about it. Let's go. Committed decision makers are nice to be around, aren't they? They drag the crowd along with them and they inspire people. And that's, I think everyone wants to be that way. Everyone really respects a committed decision maker. There's something about them. Maybe you're not 100% sure that they know what they're doing, but there's a confidence to them and a self-assurance that says, look, what's the worst that can happen? Let's go. And I think every one of us deserves to feel like that. Okay. So you probably need, like I did, a scared, maybe a little bit financially insecure warrior. I'm too old, I'm too young, I have too many responsibilities. Maybe you need someone who has a lot of excuses, who is you right now, to be the person that makes the way for the real you to come to the surface, because that was certainly my case, and certainly Shauna's case, certainly Susan's case. You're going to hear from her in a moment. And Brian, I don't know him going back before. I've only known him successful, but I know from his stories, he's had different things going on that he's told me. So, you need you know, I like Tony Robbins' story, Jack Canfield's story, Bob's story. I actually thought to myself, do you have to have a sob story to be a personal development coach? Because they seem to all have one. But I think it's when you break free and you get the results you always wanted, you kind of want to reach back and bring your fellow man on. So typically a lot of people do have that story. Certainly we attract a lot of therapists to our academy. And why are they therapists? Because they benefited from reflexology. Or a friend of mine who I trained with for acupuncture, she quit after she helped 10 ladies to conceive their second child, because she had her first child and she was years trying to conceive. And then she went for acupuncture and she conceived, and she trained for 3 years because she wanted to give back. And once there was 10 ladies who were fairly confident that it had worked, she gave up. I thought that was a pretty fucking awesome thing. It really was. And she learned a lot about life as well from the 3 years study. Anyway, let's move on. I did not plan that anecdote. So, my dear friends, now we're going to do some prize giving, and then we're going to talk about something very important. You guys want to know how you can go and study with us in the academy. So I'm going to show you that. And we have a fantastic deal and an offer that we're doing now, and we're not going to be doing it again in 2021. It's like putting on an extra few months and all that stuff, and it's not happening. We've done it in September and October, August and September, and this is the 3rd month in a row I'm going to do this offer, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So this is it. This is it. Here I am. That's a Michael Jackson song, but I didn't do a good job there. Did you ever see This Is It? If you like Michael Jackson, you should watch that. It's really good, but really sad too. Alrighty, let's get into it. Call with it too. Oh yeah, it's here. Hang on now. Bear with me. So let's hear from our, where you gone? Let's hear about our lovely competition winners. I'm humming Dallas. Right. Competition winners. Here we go. Okay. So the winner for yesterday's competition is Nicola Flood. Congratulations, Nicola. Well done. You have received a €200 voucher towards studying with us in the academy. Contact your success advisor and ask them, how can I cash this in? Nicola, well done. You've been a shining light throughout this masterclass, and you've been sharing stuff on Instagram and everything, and we're honored to have you with us. So you deserve it. Well done and congratulations. Next up. And Nicola, before you ask, no, you can't swap for this. Day 4 is a €200 voucher for Carton House and Spa up in Kildare. 1,100 acres of parkland. Carton House is where the Irish rugby team and other professional sports teams go to train and hang out and all that good stuff. It's a beautiful place. I haven't been myself, but I'm looking forward to going along. And the winner, who does the homework tonight, who does exactly what we ask them to do with the stick figure and writes out and all that stuff and sends the picture in, we'll pick out a winner tomorrow night. So Carton House, €200 off a stay there. How bad? Not so bad at all. Not too shabby, as my friend Kevin would say. All right, let's carry on. All right, bad dad dancing over. And the overall prize, and please, one of the team, share the link, because I want you guys to copy and paste this link right now. Go on to like Facebook or jump off for a minute, post the link and come back on again. This is a link for 6 months coaching and mentorship with ourselves in the academy. Okay, it's a prize that's valued at €6,900. It is really, really good. And I believe we have somebody who it looks like has made a committed decision that they're going to win. Apparently there's somebody that is out in front and cantering home to win the prize, but it's not too late. And I don't want to elbow her from the top, but it's not too late to win. So if you really want it, what did David Gray say? If you want it, come and get it, right? So for crying out loud. So go get it. Go share the link and people will start to sign up, and you can binge watch the whole masterclass as well. Any of your friends or family who want to watch along, they can watch the whole thing. We're going to be leaving the masterclass up till midnight on Monday, and then we'll be getting the duster like the teacher and they're wiping the whole lot off the board, okay? So that is what it's going to be. You receive 6 months of guided mentorship from myself, 12 digital lessons with Bob and Sandy, a full digital participants guide, the Academy workbook, live coaching sessions. Oh, flip. Come on. Why is that not sharing? Ah, goodness gracious me. And I'm sure I'm getting loads of messages saying, Declan, you're not sharing the screen. Ah, we'll do it again. I will not be beaten by the gremlins. Share my screen. Share my screen. Slightly embarrassed. Just a little bit, yeah. All right. Let's see it now. Let's see it now. Sure, we just look at it and we smile into it and we just go again. That's it. Now, there you go. Okay. Here we go. And I'm back and we'll play again. Just forget everything you just saw. All right, everybody. So there you have it. The 6 months coaching and mentorship with ourselves, 12 digital lessons with Bob and Sandy, the full participants guide, the workbook. There's 4 calls every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm live doing what I'm doing right now with you guys, keeping the energy high, keeping people focused, keeping people in touch with their goal. We do monthly laser one-to-one coaching with myself. I've done lots of them yesterday and today, which is wonderful. Shout out to Nullig and Orla and all these people that I've been speaking with over the last couple of days. Sarah Jane and everybody. It's been great. And then the bonuses, the 6 a.m. club. So the team took it upon themselves to do extra accountability at 6 in the morning. Many of you who have joined us this week have been attending that. So why don't you send a bit of love back in the chat for all the people that you've been hanging out with? And tomorrow, there's a Kerryman taking over. Myself, I'm going to be in charge of the 6 a.m. club tomorrow, and it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be doing some breakout rooms. We're going to be doing some chatting and some talking and coming back. It's going to be flipping awesome. So make sure you have a coffee in your hand at 10 to 6 because I'm going to blow the head off your shoulders tomorrow morning. Okay, bonus extras include quarterly Q&As with Bob. He has not done one this quarter, but he's done one of the other 3 quarters of the month. And then client and bonus content. There's always extra bits and bobs going on. Megan's after doing a writing group, and it's really, it's amazing what's happening in there at the moment. So that's a prize that everyone can win. Share that link. The link should be in the chat right now, the comments from our wonderful friends. And the last thing I want to do now is I want to share it. So I want to give you guys the opportunity then to go ahead and enroll with us in the academy. So I just need to go into my email very quickly. I see Bob has, we must figure this out, guys. Bob's like, Tommy, put the thing up on the screen there, Tommy. I need to get that. We need to figure that out for the next time. I'm doing the, what is it, the chief cook and bottle washer here. All righty. So let's have a little look again. And share the screen. Oh, Susan's in the green room having the grapes and the champagne and the caviar and the whole lot. How are you, Susan? I'll be with you in a moment. Biting the nails. I hope you're not. You shouldn't be. You're going to be amazing. All right, share the screen. All right, here we go, everybody. So this is what is on offer this month. And as I said, this is the last time we're going to be doing this offer. So 6 months enrolling in our academy, we're adding on 3 extra months. So that's going to bring you up to the end of June and all the free bonus access stuff that we've talked about, okay? Now, that there is also a global mastermind, which is like an extra accountability group, okay? So to be part of that, everybody that enrolls, they enroll in a 6-month membership, but you're getting it for 9 months. And what you're going to get is a one-of-a-kind system, which is based on 75 years of intense research by Bob. Sandy came into his life and made it brilliant, and all these modules. Like I have a gentleman today in Kildare and another guy up in Dublin who are coming to the end of their time, but they're going to stay on in the academy for like a rolling contract because they want to do it again. There's so much to be got from it. They don't have to do the full 6,900 reinvestment again because we have like a monthly retainer after that, like a gym membership, for example. But that's a pretty good sign that they've been with us that length of time and they want to stay on. So I'm delighted. So what you get is 9 months of guided mentorship. By the way, if there's any of our live clients with us right now, it'd be great if you want to send some love in the chat and tell these people who are watching in from the sidelines about your experience and what they can look forward to. So 9 months guided membership, 12 digital lessons, the participants guide, a workbook, the 4 weekly calls, which is just like what you've been experiencing this week. Laser coaching with myself, so 20-minute to half-an-hour sessions There's that often turns into more than one, I can tell you, but we'll leave that aside. And then there's the global client community that I think you've already experienced the feeling of being around like-minded people, even if it's in a virtual sense. But I'm delighted that we actually got to meet up in a physical sense. And once the 22nd of October is over and hopefully all the hotels and restaurants and everything are opened up, I fancy getting out and doing a bit of a tour around the country and pressing the flesh and meeting the people. And there's nothing like the live setting. I cannot wait to get up on a stage again and just have fun. Do 2 or 3 hours of this every night. It's just going to be amazing. Anyway, so we'll meet you there. You'll be with all of us as well in the community. The bonus extras are the study club, 6 a.m. We do the quarterly calls with Bob Proctor, and all the bonus contents and the other stuff we do. As I said, the writing group, and people do like money challenges and 30 days accountability around money and stuff like that. So there's loads to be gotten from it. I see people meeting up for cups of tea and coffee, and with people meet Denise in London, met Rachel over in France recently, and it's just lovely. So you're part of a very exclusive community. You'll be introduced to a new way of learning and thinking. You'll receive advice and learn from other leaders in business. You'll find ways to help each other by cross-promotion. You're going to think bigger in everything that you do, your physical body, your style, what you wear, what you buy. You'll treat yourself better. And I'll demand you treat yourself better. Like a wonderful lady in Cork called Sinead, on lesson 3 at the moment, I said, have you been treating yourself? Like, have you been getting yourself things since you started? Because I want her to, because she's badass and she gets off and she goes off and does her work. I want her to show her subconscious mind that it's worth it, So I hope she's going to do something. She's walked from Maidenhead to Mallinhead and stuff for charity. She's extraordinary. So you get kind of taught how to think differently and treat yourself better. You're going to learn how to collaborate more and achieve more in a group setting. So that's available for. So I recommend what's called Academy Elite. So the Elite program adds on the program that Bob studied to change his life back in the 1960s, and it's called Lead the Field. So if a person wants to be in the academy for like the Elite, it's 12 months, but we're adding on 3 more months. So it's going to be 15 months over a year. Now, that particular program is 12,900. We launched that last month. We have a few people that went for it. They said, look, if I'm going to be staying on, I might as well do the full whack. So it's 12,900. Or the most popular one people do go for then is the 6,900. As Brian said last night, and if you watch that back again and you'll listen to what we talked about tonight, and I said it to Sean as well the other night, like I talked to you about the analogy, like a string of pearls or like any kind of beads that you might have. They're all closely connected to one another. And if you're in that middle bead right now and you're like, how can I not do this? You'll find every single excuse attached to the how can I not do this? Boom, 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 boom. And you'll talk yourself out of it, no problem. And, nobody can stop you doing that. But that's your paradigm. It's not you. It's your paradigm saying, no, you must stay here. You cannot go forward. Are you crazy? And it doesn't just do it to you about this decision. It does it to you with lots of things. And I think you've experienced that tonight in my presentation. But if you say, okay, I'm scared shitless, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I want this and I'm going to figure it out. Same with the string of pearls. It's like, oh, we're going to figure it out. Okay. And it'll go off and figure it out. You'll find a way. You'll do what Declan O'Donoghue 5 years ago did. It's like, sweetheart, look, I know there's like $2.5 left on the credit card. I believe I need this. I'm 18 months flipping self-studying and you've seen the changes in me, but then I fall back and she was like, just do it, sweetheart. And then I was like, but that's not enough. And she was like, well, just find something, ask your mom and dad or something. You'll find a way. I spoke to a lady last month and she was like trying to find a way. And I was like, if you don't really want to do that, just stay close to me and we'll figure it out. And we worked together over a few things and she worked with her success advisor. And next thing like manifested somebody offering her like 10,000. So forget about the how. If you want to do it, today is Thursday. You've got Friday as well. Just any ideas about how you can't, put them in a metal tin, put them in a chest, put the chest in the attic, put it like loads of blocks of wood up on top of it and just get away from it. Stop thinking about how you can't. If you want to do this, you'll find a way. So just think about, okay, I'm scared, but I want to do it. And just keep thinking about how can I, and watch how the universe works. Watch how the secret genie works. If you keep thinking, okay, I can do this, I want to do this, I'll find a way. One of the reasons I asked Susan to come on tonight is because when she inspires me all the time. That's one other reason. But another reason is she got to talk about her fear in front of everybody. The first words I heard come out of her mouth was talking about her fears, because we were in a hotel room and I got everybody to talk about their future. And I said, is anybody here really inspired by a story they heard? And one gentleman, a big giant guy from Mill Street, put his hand up. And Susan is very big in confidence and in stature, but compared to this guy, she's not as tall as him. Let's put it that way. And he was really tall, and Susan wasn't as tall. And it was a cool match. And he said she really blew me away and she inspired me. And I said, whoever you are, would you mind standing up? And she did. And I didn't know that she was afraid of something, but she did. And she's going to tell you about it now. We started talking that night and her fears went away with decision. She didn't know how, but she did it. And that was a catalyst for massive change in her life and in others as well that she got to serve. But if she didn't make a decision that night, we don't know where she'd be. So I look forward to hearing her story in a moment. But anyway, so you have two options. You do the 12 months with us, which is ending up 15 months, and you do the 6 months, which ends up at 9 months. Totally up to you, whichever you do. I would just text your success advisor or comment in the chat, lock yourself into a decision and say, all right, I'm in, but help me, I'm scared. Oh my God, every success advisor was like, okay, right. Okay, I got it. I was there, trust me. So go for it. Let us help you. And just, you're probably going to come face to face with your paradigm now more than you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's been very theoretical fear up until now, but I bet you're feeling it now, how much it starts to rampage in your mind but you can't, it kicks up a bit of chaos, doesn't it? But the real you is like, look, we can, and just take that doubtful, fearful one there. It's like, if we can jump off a pier and save a baby, if we can bring someone back to life, we can do this. That's the thing. That's what we got to remember, guys. We got to remember that there's in every national park in this country, there's well-worn paths. My mom and dad and my granny and granddad put well-worn paths in my paradigm. They made me think I was a certain person, a limited person, and they didn't mean to do it. The media didn't mean to do it. The newspapers didn't mean to do it. Maybe when somebody broke up with me at 16 and broke my heart, maybe they did it to me a little bit. Maybe I did it myself by not following through on things, and then I'm just a failure. These deep-rooted tracks that are in the forests around Ireland, they're in your brain as well. They're in your mind, and they can go away, and you can create brand new worn paths. But a scared, fearful, procrastinating, doubtful person is always the one that triggers that new person to come into reality, and you will forever look back and thank that person that did. So I would ask you to make a decision and go for it, and let us help you over the next few days. That offer is going to be open till 12 p.m. on Tuesday, giving people time to get their affairs in order Friday and Monday. But we're not going to leave it on for much longer, because if you procrastinate, you're giving way to doubt, fear, and worry, and that's going to be the end of it then. Okay, so we're going to listen to Susan, and we actually have a little bit of an extra surprise afterwards. So stay on. I'm going to play a 10-minute video by Bob that I really want you to stay on and watch. Okay, let's go. So stop sharing this screen. And let's go back to StreamYard, and let's bring on the wonderful, magnificent, fantastic Susan.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. You're looking great.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I've been listening tonight, doing a smashing job. I've been listening tonight, actually, throughout the week.
Did you say I'm doing a smashing job?
Event. Sorry?
Did you say I'm doing a smashing job?
I did.
Well, that's because I played badminton for 3 years. Didn't. All right.
You never lose it, Declan.
The worst chat I ever heard was a fella said, he goes up to a girl and he goes, how much does a polar bear weigh? And she's like, a polar bear? How would I know? And he goes, I don't know either. He goes, but I guess it's probably enough to break the ice. And I was like, it's a good one. So anyway, that was my little, I wasn't chatting you up, but that was my little joke there, my smashing joke from playing badminton. So anyway, Susan, welcome to the masterclass. I want to bring you back to the first time that we ever met. You came to a seminar in the Rose Hotel in Tralee in County Kerry in November. Are we coming up on 2 years ago?
Yes, almost.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, almost 2 years, yeah.
I know. Well, that's what COVID did to us. Everything's 2 years. So 2 years. Sorry, 2 years. So you came into the seminar, and in the middle of the seminar, I asked people to go and meet somebody that they never met before and talk about life in the future. Talk about life like it is a year, 2 year, 5 years from now. And you spoke with a gentleman. I think his name is Morris, and I said, who here spoke to somebody really inspirational? And up goes this big hand. and he talked about you. And I didn't know who you were. I didn't know where you were sitting, but you were sitting not far from him, and you stood up. And I want you to take us back to your life then, when you stood up, because you had a dream, and it really inspired him enough that he outed you. He was like, I want you to hear from this person. So can you take us back to that night, and what did you tell that room that night?
I can. Yeah, so I guess 2 years ago now, I lived a completely different life, externally and internally. Externally, I was at a desk job I did not particularly enjoy. You know, I liked the crack side of things. I was the personality, but did I have interest in my actual job? No, I didn't. I always knew there was kind of more for me. It was always there. And then also, I am a person living with multiple sclerosis. So I was, one of the youngest diagnosed back in 2004, at 14. So, so I was recommended throughout all my childhood and early adulthood to go and get a desk job. No stress, sit down there now. And at the time, I was actually, before being diagnosed, I was hugely involved in sport and teams, and I just absolutely loved it. And so then obviously things kind of progressed in my diagnosis, and I couldn't actually participate anymore, but that's okay, because I went off and did my course and I got my desk job, and it was all okay. I'm doing everything I'm told. I accepted all the ideas, but something within me was saying, no, Susan, no. And that night at your event, I just basically saw the ad, and it was, what was it, slow down to speed up?
That was the one. They were my seminars.
Yeah. And I said, wow, okay, this sounds like a bit of Suze now. This sounds like a bit of me. This is meant for me.
Wow.
So I went and I spoke to Morris on the night, and I told him how, I'm an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, and this is my business, and I help other people with MS and other, disabilities, and I'm a personal trainer, and I help build them up and their mindset and things like that. And I had it all planned out. I literally had never, ever, ever stopped and even thought about that. It just flowed out of me. After, I think, was it 10 minutes, maybe less?
Well, I gave you guys probably 10 minutes to stand up and talk, and meet people, and then nobody wants to get up, because everyone's there, like, they're in their well-worn path, and they're like, oh God, I never thought I wouldn't have come here now tonight if I knew I had to stand up and meet a stranger, and it's impossible to get them to sit down, because the truth, they start speaking their real life to a real person who's not that one at home and not the people in the office, and they just get free and they talk about, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I have a tennis court out the back, and I travel to see my son in Australia twice a year, and it just flows like. And then I say, okay, go meet a second person, and they're like, oh, second, come on, let's go. And I cannot get them to sit down. It's very hard to get them to stand up, but it's harder to get people to sit down. The noise in the venue goes crazy, and it's really popular, favorite part of the night for everybody. And that was it. You came alive, like it says in The Greatest Showman. Come alive. You did. So then Morris outed you, and he was like, you have to hear from this girl. And then I said, if you're here, would you mind standing up, and would you mind telling us about this dream that inspired Morris? And then you stood up and you told a little bit about it. You said, look, I live with MS, but I want to be a personal trainer. And I goes, well, what holds you back? And you said, I feel like an imposter. So we put fear up on the board. And I honestly, Susan, it was unplanned. I didn't plan to do the drawing that night, but it actually made a few people go ahead and become clients, and their life changed incredibly. Hotel closed down during lockdown. They were my clients. Wedding photographer without a business during lockdown. They were clients, and they didn't know what they would have done. But that evening, you gave me an opportunity. I never told you this. You gave me an opportunity to teach live that evening, because I actually could see the fear, but I wanted you to see that it's such a non-physical thing. It's just an idea. It's just a mindset. Because what the paradigm does is it takes our God-given gift of imagination and it gets us to catastrophize about a future that hasn't even happened yet. And I goes, well, why don't you do it? Well, who would sign up with somebody who can't even run? Is what you said, and the whole flipping place started crying, And I said, okay, all right, well, this is your audience. And I said I was getting a bit of my cranky pants on, and I was like, this is your audience. I said, who here would pay her to be a personal trainer? And up goes the hands, And I stayed overnight, and I met you the next day in Farranfore at the pub there on the corner, and we got chatting. And my God, you had some notes. You had some notes together. You had a business plan lined out. And all you had to do then was come along and let me kind of walk beside you to get you there. And now you are the proud owner of a very wonderful business called Susan Carey Mind and Body Coaching, correct?
Yes.
And I recall the first client that you got to touch their life was a lady with Parkinson's, wasn't it? If I'm right.
Yes, actually, yeah. God, it's 2 years ago. Well, it was a year and a half.
I have a good memory.
Yeah, Maureen, actually, yeah. Oh, fabulous lady, absolutely fabulous. It was so nice to connect with her, and be able to help her. It was incredible. Oh my goodness, yeah.
And you see, you had a very special appreciation for what she was going through and the fact that she didn't feel comfortable going to personal trainers, and then came to you and really started to make changes in her life for the better. There was certain things that would happen because of her condition that stopped happening because of Susan Carey. So you only ever need that one little success story to give you that emphasis to drive forward. And thanks be to God, we have a lot of them now. We keep going. We keep thinking, how can we positively impact lives in the academy? So, Susan, you blew me away a couple of weeks ago. You put something on Instagram. You decided to head out for a bit of a run.
I did. So that little girl, sure, I can't even run. How am I supposed to do that? Oh my goodness, the way I used to speak to myself. I grew, I evolved. So I went for a run on the beach.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, you made the decision you wanted to run.
Thank you.
You made the decision that you wanted to run on the beach. Okay. That's what happened. But then you found a way with a particular device or something that aids you to run a little bit. Okay. So what Susan's showing is that she's continued to do what she did before. She made the decision that she was going to get what she wanted without knowing the how. Is that correct?
Of what I thought had exhausted the list of how to do it.
Yeah.
So I just left it out there, and it came towards me. Came to me.
When people make a breakthrough, they always want to help others, and that was another thing that I noticed, Susan. Shortly after you began, you put together something that hadn't happened. Was it in all of Munster before? It had never happened, or was it in the whole country? You put on an amazing event in the Rose Hotel.
In Ireland.
In Ireland, wow.
In Ireland, it was the very first event of its kind.
Yeah. And tell me what you've done since. I know there's one guy in particular who's always sharing the transformation he's gone through. His personal and professional and business life has changed because of your help. Do you ever let that sit in and take that in from time to time?
Every now and again I do, but again, he's the person doing the work, much like yourself. I'm just guiding him, but he's the one changing his life,
Yeah. But look,
it's really cool.
You've changed your life. He couldn't have done it without you. He couldn't have been inspired if you didn't stand up that night, So what we need to understand is the ripple effect that happens when Marianne Williamson says it in her poem, our deepest fear is not that we are I can't remember it, but we're powerful. It's not, our deepest fear is not that we are weak or but we're powerful beyond belief. And she goes on to say that when you shine your light, it helps others to shine their light. And you really help this man a lot, and other people too, Susan. But your story is very inspiring, and it's featured on like national media, and you've been on the radio and everything like that.
Yeah. I think nearly every outlet at this point. TV is next, Declan. You'll have to interview me on the Late Late. How's that?
Yes. Well, you were listening. We'll get you down for the podcast anyway. We'll start with that. And then that goes, pardon me, my little Jack Russell is given out here. When that goes viral, then we will we'll take on the rest of it. We'll get Tubbs to retire, and I'll slip in there. It'll be fine. I just have to make sure I don't say any little F-bombs as I do from time to time when I get a bit fired up with this material. But anyway, Susan, so when you studied thinking into results, what was your favorite transformation? What was it that really stood out for you and that you still do to this day? What was the main lesson for you?
Self-image for sure. That was the one, and I continue working on that every day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a massive paradigm of mine. Literally paralyzed my life. You know, I just accepted everyone saying you can't, you have to do this, you have to do this. That's my conditioning, you know. So wow. I've really been working on that and continue to work on it. And I think my results are proof of how I am working on it as well. So yeah. That was the massive takeaway. And not just, you know, like people think self-image of how you look like. And yes, I take pride in my appearance and I show up as my higher self. I enjoy that. I enjoy, you know, experiences and that. But the way I feel about myself is incomparable, absolutely incomparable. Even my language, everything. And now I empower others, you know, and I am able to empower others because I've been in the dark and now I'm just shine bright.
It's amazing. I think it was a green coat, and I think back to that girl, and I look at you now, and I'm like, it's such a transformation. The confidence, that's kind of just the charisma, the confidence, and that girl was always in there. You know, I talk about these Russian dolls and the way there's a small one and a big one and a big one, and she was always in there just waiting to come out. But the catalyst was you decided, and that is it. So I'm delighted that we could have been any part of your journey. I know you've created great friendships within our academy. We got to have lunch recently, actually, with some of your old colleagues, with Jelena and Dusan, before they headed back over to Croatia. But I know you have great friendships with Megan and Lexi and a few others like that as well in the academy. So it's great to see everybody sticking together, and we're all connected through confidence and through a belief in a better world for ourselves and others. So Susan, I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come on with us tonight. Before we let you go, you don't have to share as much as you did with Morris, but what does the future hold for Susan Carey and for Susan Carey Mind and Body Coaching, and for you, and what's the next level, my dear?
The next level? Oh, Declan. Oh, Declan. How long do we have?
We can do the whole masterclass next time. Susan's masterclass with Declan. Go on.
Oh, absolutely. So, oh my goodness, you're putting me on the spot. I don't want to seep out everything. I can talk for hours.
Well, okay, give us 1 year from now. Just tell us one thing you're going to be doing. Put you on the hook.
Oh. 1 year from now, you can expect products in your home. How's that?
Ooh, I like that a lot. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm building a new office, and I look forward to being one of the proud owners of whatever the product is.
You will be one of the first, Stefan. I assure you.
Well, I'm buying it. I don't want any gifts. I'm paying for it because that's how business works. Okay. We hand over something we value less, which is the money, for something we value more, which is your service or your product. So you better bill me. All right. And I want to be one of the first. Absolutely. So Susan, we'll let you go. I want to say thanks so much for tonight, and for just being part of the academy over the last couple of years, and for always liking the Insta stuff, and I'm liking your Insta stuff, and you're it's such a great you are a great inspiration to me, and I know you probably are not comfortable every time I say that, but you really, really are. I have a lot of stories I look back on, and there's times I doubt myself, and then there's times I think of people like you, and it really helps me to get up and go. So Susan, you're a legend. You're great crack, you're great fun, and I'm delighted to call you a friend. And thanks again I'm sure you've inspired many people. And after you're finished, just please look back over the chat, and I'm sure there's plenty of truth in there for you to read about how much you've inspired everybody tonight. So lots of love, and take care.
And thank you, Declan, for thinking into results. And if there's just a moment, if anyone here is thinking about joining, just stop thinking, just do it. Honestly, what I learned with you, Declan, I can never, ever unlearn.
Yep.
It is just, it's magic.
Yeah.
It is honestly magic. And what it, like, just the frequency of your group, everything. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it straight away, for sure. It changed my
Excellent.
life. Thank you.
Thanks a million. Look, we're only getting started. We're only getting warmed up. All right, we're like, what's his name? What's that singer? The guy, Dolly, you know, the Islands in the Stream. That's what we're like. All right, we'll leave it at that. We won't start singing, Susan. But thank you for your kind words, and I wish you well, and lots of love. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so what I have to do now is I'm gonna Bob's gonna pop on. Not the real Bob. I've got a video of Bob I want to show you because I really want to get Bob to explain a little bit more about the power of decision making through the material that he taught me and that I teach everybody. This is the vibration and attraction masterclass, and I'm gonna get Bob to show you a little clip I showed everybody in the academy this morning about how lines of vibration dictate the results that we have, and when you make a decision to get the results you want, you just need to get onto that vibration. So that's why we have to put the little imposter, the little doubtful, negative little fella and lady away and listen to the optimistic, confident side of you that can make anything happen, just like this beautiful lady did it here as well, okay? So let's listen to Bob, and then we'll bring it in for landing, and then I'll see you tomorrow evening at 7 bells, all right? So we'll share the screen one more time. One more time. We're going to celebrate. Okay, Bob. He's there waiting patiently. God bless him. Are you ready, Bob? Let's go. Hang on. We're sharing. Come on, come on, come on. StreamYard. Oh, yes, here we are. One more time. There we go. Thank you for your patience, everybody. And we press play. Thank you, and here we go. Come on, Bob. Good.
We got to make decisions, and decisions are they're not easy to do because we've never been taught to do them. And I think when it comes to studying, you're going to make a decision to study. Now, there's things that you want to do, there's things you want to have, or there's things you want to get. And if we've never learned how to make a decision, we've got a problem. Now here, Hill says that all the winners make decisions very fast, and they change them very slow if and when they change them at all. But then he points out there's only about 3% of the population that do that. Why does this very small select group make decisions just like that, and then very rarely ever change them, and the other people don't? Well, you see, I think it is sort of it's a basic concept that you've got to gather a lot of information. And I don't care how much information you can gather to make a decision, there's always more information you can get. So if you're on a mission of gathering information to make a decision, I think you're on the wrong track. I really believe you're on the wrong track. In studying this, I found out that small select group didn't need to gather any information. They had one prerequisite, and that is, do they want it? If they want it, the decision's made. So let's take a look at this here. Alec, if you want to move that chair back a bit, you could watch this on the monitor there. Okay. You can just sit there right there and watch. Okay. So now watch this carefully. Maybe you can go full screen with this, Scott. Let the lines represent levels of vibration. Levels of vibration are referred to as frequencies. Now, you and I think on frequencies. I want you to really consider what I'm saying. Thought is energy. Thinking, we're expressing energy. Thought waves are cosmic waves that penetrate all time and space. Now, when you get dealing with the mind, there isn't any such thing as time and space. It's an illusion. So our thoughts are evenly present in all places at the same time. Now we think on frequencies, so we let these puffy little clouds represent our thoughts, and it's these thoughts that produce the results we're getting. Now we're sitting and we're looking at our results, but we don't want these results. We want them, we were going towards them, but the result we want is way beyond that. So we set a target and we say, that's where I really want to go. We don't want to just be down here. We want to get up there. Now, we don't know how to get there. We don't know. We know if we work hard, we know if we study, that some good things can happen. So we say, I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. Or I'm going to do that as soon as the kids are out of school. We've always got a reason for not doing it. We say, I'm going to do that. And then, because we don't have the resources to do that right now, we're saying when these resources change, that's when it's going to happen. Now, here's the problem. Those resources are never going to change because you're on the wrong frequency of thought. Now, stay with me. After a while, the decision fades, and it isn't too long until the goal fades and it's gone. Now, what's happened here? Well, let's consider it. You're thinking down here. Your mind and thoughts are down here on this frequency. And you're saying, I want to go way up there. Well, the results you're getting are the results of the thinking that you're doing, the frequency that you're on. Now you're saying that's where I really want to go. You are never going to get there on that frequency. It's like listening to an AM station and trying to get FM music. Ain't going to happen. You've got to be on the frequency that the good that you're desiring is on. We are never going to attract it. It just isn't going to happen. So your thoughts have to be focused on the same frequency as the goal is on. Now, nothing's created or destroyed. Everything's already here. If not in one state, another. So you see, if you're going to get that, you've got to make what we call a committed decision. Now, when you make a decision, you do it if it's convenient. You do it if everything works out right, if these people fall in line. When you make a committed decision, you're going to do it regardless. Mm-hmm. When you make a committed decision, you do it regardless. And this is what happens. When you make a committed decision, you flip your brain onto a higher frequency. And the thoughts that you need are starting to flow into your consciousness. This is where you think and act like the person you want to become. Now, all of the PGI programs are based on this concept, and they're designed to do for you what you want done. Okay? What have you decided to do? Okay, Scott, throw it back up again. Thank you. Now, that lesson on decision is probably one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn. For a long, long time, in fact, for many years, I used to wonder, how do they make their decisions so fast? Some of them are really brilliant. So you think that's how they made it, because they just know. Some of them aren't very brilliant. And for a long time, it puzzled me. Because out of 100, there's maybe 3, 4, boom, like that, make a decision. You see, the only prerequisite you need to make a committed decision, the only prerequisite you need is, do I want it? Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to play with this. Want is in the conscious mind. It's in the conscious mind. It's an intellectual thing. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. And you got to turn that want into a desire. You got to plant that want in your subjective mind. But the want comes to your consciousness because the essence of who you are is perfect. It's perfect. You see, your spiritual DNA is perfect. And it wants to express and expand itself and express itself in a greater way. Spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression. So how does it do that through us? It keeps jabbing us in the consciousness, want this, want that, want this. And you don't set goals to get, and you don't want to get. You want so you can grow. When you want something beyond where you're at, that's when it's going to start happening for you. Now, how do we go about this? Well,
okay, Bob, I'm going to leave it at that now. You can take the rest of the evening off. We'll stop sharing there. Okay, everybody. So we've taken up plenty of your time this evening, and I know you've really enjoyed yourself. What a great interview with Susan. What a lovely person she is. Thank you very much. Your enthusiasm is infectious, Susan. Susan Hillman says, fantastic. What an inspiration. All the best in your ventures. You go, girl. Beautiful lady, beautiful energy. Oh, thanks, everybody. Shine bright like a diamond. Someone says she does, doesn't she? Somebody says, I'm 10 weeks in the academy. It's been a real life-changing experience for me. Thinking into results has been a refreshing and a real aha moment. I have a long way to go, but now I know with certainty that I will navigate my way in an abundant, fulfilling life with the help and support of a fantabulous community. I just made that up, and I can do that if I want. Created by Declan and his team, and not least at all, you people. Yeah, absolutely. You too. It just shows me Facebook user, and I don't want to waste these people's time by checking to see who wrote that, but I will find out after. Thank you so much. Somebody else said one of the best decisions, I would say, anyone go for Declan and his team are the real deal. Thank you very much. I'm here 3 months, loving my new life and excited about it. Awesome. I joined it today, excited and delightful and hopeful and grateful. I'm sorry I don't see the names. It just says Facebook user. So welcome. Hey, it's okay to say you're welcome. Anita Keane, I've met people from lots of different jobs and backgrounds. Are there nurses in the program? We do have a lot of nurses in the program. I will not name them, but they're there. I've never spent such a large amount of myself. I've never regretted it for a moment. It's changed everything for me, how I feel, how I respond and not react. My business has definitely benefited as well. It was the best decision of my life to join the academy. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. Declan, the advisors are always there to help with the right words. Literally could not put into words how much I recommend it. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciated every one of you guys for doing that. And as if you haven't seen enough of us already today, Amanda, making the decision to join the academy was the best decision I ever made. Jeepers. Thank you, guys. And I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. I made the decision, the money arrived. Oh, there you go. So let's do it, guys. Let's get cracking. Let's get rolling. And we want to welcome a lot more people in this week. So I'll see you tomorrow evening. It's going to be me talking about a new you. And then after that, we're going to be joined by a group of people. A group of people I never knew. I never knew I needed. You know, I couldn't imagine what life would be like without Yelena Dusan and Megan. And we'll see if Yelena Dusan are going to be with us. I don't know if that's completely confirmed, but myself and Megan will be here, I believe, and we'll see. And hopefully we have the whole family together, and we will take it from there. So everybody, thank you for your attendance, for your comments, your kindness, and the energy that you're bringing to our masterclass. And now I got to go in, and apparently there's been a bake-off going on there. My wife, I normally take my son to soccer from 5 until 7 on a Thursday evening, but June got the job this evening, and the two girls have been taking care of each other in the kitchen. And Daddy, can we bake chocolate chip cookies? I was like, absolutely oodly. So they're gone in, and we'll see. We could have some burnt crispy cookies, or we could have some masterpieces. We definitely are going to say there's going to be a little bit of a mess to clean up, but that's just how it is in the life of a high-flying consultant. You know, that's how it is. And then we got to do bedtime stories. So anyway, take care, everybody, for a great evening. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for tomorrow evening. And it's the end tomorrow evening. So let's make it a good one. I'll do something on Monday as well, but tomorrow evening, bring your A game. All right, take care. It's Friday evening as well. Sure, have a little nice cold drink on the side as well. Sure, why not? Bye-bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.